So, another video done on the fly. Yeah, I'm out here, outside. Figured I would change my location a little bit. But the sun was shining. It was a beautiful day. And then I get over here and it's like gray. So, anyway, yeah, so I just wanted to talk about Roger Federer. I wanted to talk about the finals with Djokovic and Nadal, and just wondering, like, did you see the finals, or did you like completely turn tennis off and just get into your own world, which is also a wonderful thing. But if you happen to watch the finals, I just looked at those finals with Djokovic and Nadal and thought, what a wonderful time for you to kind of be able to sit back and let somebody else deal with all this heat and intensity and just see how other people are handling it, not only on a level of competition, but the pressure from the media, the talk from the media, and just performing in front of not only a platform at the Roland Garros, but also performing in front of a world audience, and being judged. But there are a couple of things. Like, I feel like no one will probably ever, I'm going to say no one in tennis will probably ever feel the type of pressure that you felt, because you just lifted tennis up to this whole other realm. And I know probably I'm starting to sound a little bit like a broken record because I'm repeating certain things in my videos, but I think that also was like a double-edged sword for you, because it was like, on one hand, you were getting all these accolades and doing all this superhuman stuff, and then people started looking for you to always perform at this just unattainable level for anyone else. So once everything, I've gone over this, so I won't even bore you like by repeating myself, but I feel like both Djokovic and Nadal hadn't had to get the gift and the curse of that type of position in the world, and they were able to sort of sit in your shadow, with all due respect to them. I'm not saying that in a negative way, but some of the pressure was never on them because of such a wide arena through your accomplishments that you had taken. And so the world was pretty much watching how everyone would perform through the sort of like lens of Roger, or no, maybe what's a better word, through, with regard to Roger Federer, like how was everyone else going to perform with regard to Roger Federer. So I'm not sure that I'm really getting my point across here and sounding clear enough, but so now you got to see Djokovic, and for me, like, Djokovic played against Nadal when so much history was at stake for the both of them, and so much was on the line. Like, for Nadal, it was the number 2 spot in the world, which I didn't even freaking realize if he had lost, he would have been number 2 in the world. Roger Federer, damn it! That would have been so great for you to be in Wimbledon and have that better side of the draw, like the Rafa's always getting. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I was trying so hard to stay positive and not let that leak out into my videos for you to hear. And it's not saying that, Rafa could pretty much handle anybody, who they put in front of him, so it's not like saying anything on Rafa, but I mean, he does kind of, a lot of people online have complained about this, like, you get all the freaking hardest people, so you are really doing it. Like, you was got to get through Del Potro, you was got to get through Berdych, or Burdick, I don't know, like, no one knows how to pronounce Berdich's name correctly. I used to say Burdick, now I say Berdych. Who knows? I even tweeted him, just to try to get the name right, and I don't even care for Berdych. You know what? Never mind. Anyway, whatever. So, yeah. So it's just really interesting, like, how these two were going to perform coming in on that, and you can see once again, like, Djokovic. This is someone who beat Nadal, like, consistently over the last year, and on a world platform in the Grand Slams on the biggest levels. He has beaten him, and I'm going to throw out this number. I thought I saw somewhere roughly that he's beaten him the last 7 times. I'm not totally sure about that, but I thought I scanned that somewhere reading. But you would think that even though Nadal got the win in Monte Carlo and Nadal got the win at Rome, like, you would think that Djokovic would kind of be a little more pumped, a little more mentally prepared, and also, you know, given that his grandfather had passed away in Monte Carlo, one would think that. But again, you know, I don't really know what's going on in Djokovic's life and how he's processing or dealing with his grandfather's loss, his loss of his grandfather. But I just would have thought that, especially after all that he went through to get to the finals, that he would have come in with a lot more, with a lot more belief in himself, a lot more confidence in himself, that no matter what was going to be thrown at him, he would have been able to sort of pull it out. And despite the fact that I feel like in a lot of ways, you know, Djokovic is fiercely strong offensively. And I'm no tennis expert, so I just kind of am like reluctant sometimes to say, use word offensive, defensive. But what I always see is that, you know, Djokovic is always hitting the ball wherever another opponent isn't. Like, if you're on the left side of the court, he's hitting it to the right. If you're on the right side of the court, he's hitting it to the left. You know, and I feel like he does that a lot more than anyone else on the tour that I've noticed. So I would think that he would have come in with a little more confidence. Now, when I came in at the match, it was Nadal was up 2-0, you know, 2 games to love or whatever. And Djokovic was steadily playing, and his body language for me was really it was tentative at first. It was, how could I say this? Like, shook up, you know, like, he looked shaken up, almost like a little boy, which is why I lean toward him when you're not in a tournament. It makes me kind of lean toward him, because it gets that kind of look where you feel really bad for him. You be like, come on, Joker, come on, hold on, you know, stay fight. And I've always, you know, I didn't always feel that way about Joker, but anyway, whatever. Like, I turned on TV, he looked like a little bit beat up, you know, but his offensive skills, I just feel like is kind of like what held him there. But, you know, Rafa's defensive skills are so sick and ridiculous, you know, and everybody knows that. It's not like I'm sitting here saying something new and some new discovery. You know, Rafa's defensive game is just really tenacious. And the beautiful thing that I noticed about it was that Djokovic seemed to have this, or Nadal's not just natural way that he is tenacious on defense affected Djokovic the same way that it affects you, or Roger Federer, that I've seen at times. Like, Djokovic started to actually erode Djokovic's confidence a little bit more. It started to create an anxiety in Djokovic, where he started to kind of make errors because he was trying to hit the ball really quickly in some far off direction or some different direction where he felt that Nadal would not be able to get the ball. And this is a thing that I noticed, which was beautiful, because I was watching the match, Roger, on my computer, and the computer actually a few times was freezing as the points were being played back and forth. And I got to see that actually Rafa's reflexes, it's not that, I mean, he's fast on the court and stuff like that, but it's actually his reflexes. And maybe you guys all know this or whatever, but it was a beautiful discovery for me. Like, his reflexes are so on that the computer was freezing, and you could see that his body was already leaned toward the direction of the ball, and the ball was barely released past that not the baseline, but the midpoint line. I don't know, you know, again, not a tennis expert, but that line in the middle, you know, the ball wasn't even really being released past that point, and Rafa's body was already leaned toward where the ball was going. So that's really, really said to me, and it happened more than once on my computer, and I feel like, thank goodness my freaking computer froze so that I could notice that, and I could tell you about it in case you don't know, that it's his actual reflexes. So that's, you know, in addition, he likes to chase down stuff, but his actual recognition and snap reflex of, you know, the brain, that timing between the recognition of where the ball is going and where the brain, you know, it's cognitively recognized, and the brain just, you know, the body starts moving toward it, is really, really quick. Is extremely quick. So it really got me thinking toward you and these huge servers like Milos, Raonic, and Isner, Karlovic, you know, those type of people, the Del Potros of the world who were serving so crazy. And I was just like, you know, I know you already have great reflexes and stuff like that, and you're a great returner and stuff like that, but maybe that's something that you really want to focus on. And that is something coming from me that I would recommend. You know, that's how everything that I put in these videos are how I would most likely analyze stuff for myself, and it would be my own approach to how I want to move my game to where I'm feeling comfortable, I'm feeling in control, and I'm feeling that I can pull out the win. So that was really interesting for me. And I would really, really consider that. And I'm sure that that's probably somewhere incorporated in your daily training and stuff like that. But, you know, it's something good to know with these fast servers, you know, these young guys who are coming in and they're getting confidence and stuff like that. And it also would help as well, because I think to really work on super improving and, you know, like micro improving the cognition, the reflexes, you know, the way that Nadal, you know, in that manner, you know, let me try to leave Rafa out of this, but I'm just saying, like, in that manner, because the effect of it, you know, by somebody constantly being able to get the ball really is, you know, it's a workout for him. Meanwhile, Nadal is just doing his normal thing, but it is breaking down somebody else on the other side of the court, like psychologically, is creating an anxiety, you know, because like, oh my gosh, I can't get it, you know, like you can see that kind of going on when the errors start, when they start hitting the ball out of anxiety, like, I want to hit it this way, hurry up before he gets over there, hurry up quick. And yeah, I kind of jumped off my point a little bit, like the point that I wanted to finish. And I think what I was trying to say is that going back to, you know, those big servers, those big kids, those kids are coming up, those kids, you know, all the young guys I named, and including the Burdiches, you know, those perimeter guys who are like sharks, you know, kind of like that little dangerous asteroid, you know, it's like an asteroid belt before you can get into the main solar system of planets, where it's like Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic, the big three guys. It's always kind of like those perimeter players who are dangerous, who you got to kind of get through them, who, you know, that type of thing. I don't know why I started comparing it to an asteroid, but whatever. Asteroid belt. I'm sorry. So these guys, these young guys, have played against you. They've gotten a couple of sets off of you. You know, there's kind of like a little bit of that notion out there that people feel that they can get something, you know, I think from you a little bit, sort of, you know, maybe by playing big or playing hard or serving hard. So, you know, it'd be a good thing to kind of just correct that in those young guys' heads for next season, because, you know, I just think, you know, in the interest of longevity in your career as well, and just really wanting to win, you know, that those things be taken into consideration. And yeah, just, I mean, that is just a way that I probably would approach it. Just from this point of view, where I'm not a tennis expert, as an outsider, this is the way I think. So I would really try to work on my reflexes, on really trying to build that up, because like I said, I have a picture here that I drew. I can't even see it from here to really kind of point it out, but this is Djokovic up here, and he hit the ball, and I know you can see my drawing is like not that great, obviously, but you can see he like where he hits the ball, you know, Rafa's body was kind of already like jumping and lunging into that area. And, you know, I was so glad that my computer froze about this. Very, very interesting. And it's because of that Djokovic started not trusting himself. All of a sudden, you could see that because he was having such a hard time hitting to Nadal, and he started not trusting himself. His confidence started breaking down, and it was it was eroding. And there were times when Djokovic had a clear, good shot, like given a player like him, he had a really good shot to actually get himself the point, and he wouldn't go for the shot because he started becoming tentative, because he started second guessing himself, because now he lost a little bit of ground in the belief thing because of the way Rafa was like returning everything. So it was very interesting. But despite all of that, Djokovic I think it was the third set, all of a sudden Djokovic just went and took a whole 7 games straight off of Rafa. I ended up kind of missing some of that part of the match because I was making some food at the time. I was making a turkey, so it came out delicious too. Like, yeah, you guys really want to know about that. But yeah, so I didn't get to see all of that set, but it's funny too. Like, it's funny to notice as well, like how Djokovic checks out and how Rafa checks out, you know, under high pressure. And Djokovic started checking out. You know what he does? He returns to the old Djokovic, was like, la 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 la. He's doing all of this and showing all this really negative body language. And Nadal, on the other hand, has a really damn good poker face. You know, you don't know what the hell's going on behind Nadal's mind. I just really realized that. You always think he's like calm and cool, sort of, and he's just playing every point and doing all of that. But inside, he's afraid. He's feeling the pressure, but I think he's the best, probably puts on the best poker face, and I think that's what also has served to break down other players, you know, in these high matches, is the fact of that face, not really showing much emotion. But you saw a break in the clouds when he actually went, there was a point, he was on a very rare break point. No, how can I say that? Very rare break point. That's stupid. When he took the first 2 sets. So he was he was going to break. He was about to break Djokovic, and they were really fighting for these points. And, you know, the ability is so much the same. The ability is so high that, you know, it's like a stalwart almost, you know, and that's what these guys were experiencing, the pressure of the stalwart, because their abilities are almost the same. So that was very interesting. But he was about to possibly break Djokovic, and he missed that opportunity. And because he missed that opportunity, all of a sudden you just see a break in the clouds, and he just showed anger on the court. And it's, you know, again, it's not... I'm not trying to say that showing anger is a bad thing or anything like that, because then I would be such a phony, because I have expressed myself and I've gotten angry in my own life, but I'm not saying that I'm a mad woman or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, everyone gets angry. So Nadal, actually, once he lost that point and Djokovic ended up retaining his serve, he was like, ugh, like that. He went like that. And I was like, ooh, you know what? Yeah, Nadal is feeling it. Nadal is feeling it. You just don't know it, but Nadal is feeling the freaking pressure. He just does not show it. And you know what? He's done a great job of that, because that really, I can imagine, erodes the person on the other side of the net. Like, someone who's not, it seems like they're not breaking down, which a lot of times doesn't seem like that way for me. With Nadal, even if he's losing pretty much in general. But the one thing one quality that I really don't care about Rafa, sort of, and it's not that I don't know, I just don't find it fully agreeable, is the fact that it seems like when Rafa is losing, like, he like tries to create an exit strategy, you know, either it's a bathroom break, or, you know, all of a sudden Djokovic was winning and then or getting points, and then Rafa's apparently like asking, like, if the conditions are okay, you know, should the match be stopped, you know, and I just find, like, you know, when anybody else is sitting on that court and, like, losing, they just lose. Like, don't try to exit something. And it always kind of seems like that. Or you know, some kind of injury, or some taking too much time on the serve, or, you know, calling the trainer for the knee or something like that. And I'm not saying that he does that all the time. I love Rafa, don't get me wrong. So, you know, I'm not trying to paint him in a bad light, but I'm just saying, like, that's the way he checks out of his matches, you know? And Djokovic with the negative body language and the clowning around a little bit, like he was doing that yesterday. And I was like, oh, you're just giving Nadal, like, room to breathe. Like, I know as soon as Rafa saw all of that and the slamming down the racket and this and that very early on, that he's like, oh, okay, oh, I got this guy. You know, all I got to do is stay cool. Like, Djokovic is feeling the pressure. You know what I mean? So that was all very, very interesting. And I hope that, you know, this is like a super, super, super juicy, ripe opportunity for you to just take advantage and look at that and see through just a bird's eye view the way we as spectators see you perform, like in a match against Nadal or a match against Djokovic or any kind of high intensity match, and just be able to really see that. And I think it's really created so much, especially in this one, because there was so much history, and then, you know, being number 2 and number 1 in the world, and then the 7 Roland Garros titles for Rafa versus the 4 Grand Slams in a row for Djokovic. You know, like, you really got to see, like, such a high stakes match. But I have to tell you though, I didn't feel like this was anything that was as much pressure as like a Australian Open 2009 or Wimbledon 2008. Like, there was not that much pressure from the outside world on this, or from the media. There wasn't so much anticipation. And the match wasn't exciting. I feel like, you know, match was good, and they create good tennis together, but I don't feel like the matches were exciting. And I'm not just saying this because I'm such a fan, Roger Federer fan, but I just don't feel like they create together the really exciting tennis that a Rafa Nadal and a Roger Federer have created together in the past. And so, you know, but it's not saying anything bad against them. It's just what it was. So, you know, yeah, so I mean, I imagine, like, if you, Roger, just take that and look at it through that particular lens, a lens of a spectator, you know, and shift the point of view, shift the perspective, you know, from being like, oh, I went out in the semis, to now, oh, look at this, you know, I get to really get the one up on these two. I get to see, like, or I get an outside view of how people break down. And you know what? Djokovic could have had that match in a lot of ways. Like, it would have been tight for him, but if he just came in with some belief, like, he would have I believe he would have gotten the best of Rafa. Like, it would have been tough. It would have been up and down. Because I originally thought Rafa was just going to win it, you know. And even Rafa taking the 2 sets, but Djokovic breaking back, you know, and stuff like that. Like, I just feel like offensively, Djokovic has the edge a little bit on Nadal. Meaning that I'm no tennis expert, but like I said, I see Djokovic pull off these shots where he just manages to hit it anywhere the opponent isn't. And when he's on and his confidence is on, like, he's dangerous, you know? So I just feel like he has a little bit of the edge over Rafa. It's not like Rafa can't make the same shots, but his game is not that way really so much. So yeah, so that was really interesting. Yes, so yeah, I talked about, you know, Djokovic started committing, you know, unforced errors due to that anxiety, and there were clear shots where, again, he could have taken Nadal, like, he could have put that ball away. There was one shot where he was in the forecourt, I guess you could say, and he could have easily have just hit the ball right to the left. Could have easily. I mean, I could have even done it. I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I could have done it. I could have taken that ball, probably couldn't have hit it as fast, but I could have hit that damn ball over to the left away from Rafa. You know what I mean? No, seriously, I'm not even trying to be like disrespectful, but it's like showed like how much just naturally, like as a byproduct of just how Rafa just plays defensively, just his own natural way of playing defensively. It's not like he was even charged up like, I gotta get every point, I gotta be on, you know, like just a natural way that he plays and chases down every ball really broke down the mind of Djokovic. So it was very interesting. And then there were even, like I said, the shots that he could have made, that I could have gotten. I could have made that freaking shot being in the forecourt, you know, and just hit it, you know. And he didn't even choose to do that. He chose to like hit it right to Nadal, and even the commentator said that he was losing his faith because he could have made that shot. But yeah, this is a great time. This is a great time for you to just sit back and just see, you know, how the mind starts making choices, you know, under certain intensity, and it's okay, and it's natural, you know. I'm sure any human being who was out there on that court would have started making the same decisions, like, oh my god, I feel like this isn't working against Rafa, let me try to hit it over here, oh, I made an error, you know, like, oh, let me hurry up, hit it over there, oh my gosh, before he gets it, let me hit it far away from him and make it a total error, you know. And obviously the unforced errors started going up. There weren't actually a lot of ridiculous amount. I think it was like Rafa had made like 3, you know, errors, but I think Djokovic, you know, kept adding up. It was like 8, 9. You know, it was more than Rafa. But it's interesting to just to be able to see what's going on versus being able to feel what's going on. And Roger Federer, you are one of the very few people in this world who get to feel. And I'm sure that it's not like, oh, you know, if you are watching this video, it's like, oh, well, that's not like it's like a greatest thing or whatever. But in a certain way, it kind of is what you guys are doing, like to an outsider, like, you know, again, at the top level of performance and stuff like that. But, you know, now I feel like you can use that match through a different lens, looking at it and seeing how Rafa breaks down, seeing how Djokovic breaks down, seeing how Rafa checks out. And this match, again, is unique because there was so much history. This is one of the closest things ever to the type of rivalry levels that you had at the Australian Open 2009 and 2008 Wimbledon. Like, this is the closest thing. It's not even that high pressure, if you ask me, as much as those were for you, and you know what they were involving you and Nadal in the world. Like, the intensity level is not that high, but you get to see, like, under the reality of playing against Nadal, like how Djokovic started, you know, giving away his own ground on his own belief system, you know, and how he started doubting himself, like, you know, and seeing how that breaks down, and to be able to see it, and you've already felt it. You felt what that intensity is like, you know, so, you know, you're buried in that, but at least you can see it now, so you can kind of connect it to, from being an outsider, you could kind of pull yourself mentally out of what it felt like. Because I feel like, you know, when you're down there and you're in it, you know what I mean? You know. And, you know, in that kitchen next to the oven and the stove, it's like that heat intensity management that I was talking to you about. Like, this is a good lesson, like being in it and knowing what it feels like, and being outside of it and seeing it and seeing the overall picture, that if Djokovic actually just stayed, you know, if he just kept his belief system, like, you know, knowing this crap is hard, this dude is chasing down everything, I'm behind, like, if he just said, you know what, I'm just going to keep playing hard, I'm going to keep playing to my points, like, he would have eventually kept breaking Nadal. He would have broken Nadal. And I think even if he ended up losing, he would have walked away from that match with a lot more confidence, knowing that, you know what, I just have to turn it up in this way and that way. Like, it's doable. I didn't do it this time, but it's doable. But since he lost belief in everything, like, that's so damn detrimental. Like, I don't think he's going to even be able to make that up on grass and hardcore later. You know, his own natural skills may carry him over, like it did in sometimes in the match in Roland Garros. Like his natural skills, the fact that he had those did carry him over, and he broke Nadal a few times. But it wasn't his belief; it was his skills. You know, like just staying in there and playing tennis. But he was not. He had a lot of negative body language. He checked out completely with this you know, turning around to his coach, his dad or whatever, and just doing this. Like, if I saw somebody doing that on the other side of the court, I'm like, woo, all right. Yeah. She's feeling the heat. I'm going to turn it up. I'm just going to keep holding on, you know. So, yeah, it was very interesting. So I just, you know, call to you to, like, look at it that way. Like, this is such a ripe and delicious, you know, just wonderful piece and jewel of information, a wonderful ripe piece of fruit for you to be like, okay, you know what? I know what it's like to be in it, and I know what it's like to see when you start making up stories, kind of, because that's what, you know, and I can't really say that Djokovic is making up stories, but the mind starts kind of checking out a little bit, because it's like, oh, this is hard. You know, oh, I don't want to hit it to him. Let me hit it over here, you know. And, you know, the mind starts making decisions and losing belief ground, you know. But, again, Djokovic came into that match with no real belief. You know, the body language was negative from the very start. His attention span was also negative. You know, his reactions after most of the points were negative a lot. The look on his face, he really looked like beat up and stuff inside, like, you know, like a little deer in the headlights or something at times. I felt a little sorry for him. Joker, damn, pull it together. Come on. You've been beating this guy. What the hell? Come on, dig in, man. Okay, dig in. But, you know, it's easy to say it. It's easy to say that. So anyway, whatever the hell happened between those two, whatever, you know what I mean? They're each gonna have their own mental thing against each other. You just sneak in like the ninja and take the whole damn thing, Roger. You know what I'm saying? This is so much time for you to just watch this and look at it through that lens. Like, the other people, you know, like, this is something for you to sit back and watch and see the both of them and just get all the secrets. You know, get all the secrets, get everything you need. So, I guess lastly, kind of wrapping this up a little bit, I wanted to say, you know, I really appreciate everyone who's like watching the videos, and hopefully Roger Federer is actually watching them too. Roger, go Roger. Anyway, you know, so I have conversations like with some of these wonderful people who are sending really nice compliments to my video, and thank you guys so much for watching these videos. I mean, it means a lot to actually put this out here. It actually personally may not seem like it in the video, but it took a lot for me to make these videos and actually talk to Roger Federer and actually choose to follow what I really wanted to do, you know, and actually make these videos. And it's so probably unusual, you know, and you know, so there's always that fear there, like, you know, this is something really unusual, you know, and then what if he thinks you're crazy? What if he thinks you're some kind of crazy freaking fan, you know? And I promise you I'm normal, you know, but I just care about Roger Federer winning, because I know that, Roger, you can freaking do this, you know? And so I want to move on, and just say that I mentioned some of these people because they also talk about age, like 30 years old. And I'm always open to comments, and please, guys, you know, post your comments and stuff like that, even if you disagree with me. I love it as long as you keep it positive and disagree in a respectful manner, you know. And, yeah, but I'm going to tell you the reason why. I have not been swayed as far as Roger Federer being 30 years old, because, number one, his fitness level is high. He's taken 4 titles this year, you know, and again, like I say in all my videos, it's June right now. That's almost, it's just a little under a title a month. So since January, Roger has taken 4 titles. He has beaten people, you know, he has fought his way through to the finals and taken the cup 4 times. since January of 2012. It is now June of 2012. The second thing regarding his age, I don't see any deterioration, any physical deterioration. Like, Roger is very fit. He keeps up with these guys. He beats the young guys. I mean, John Isner at Indian Wells, you know, Del Potro, who is, you know, formidable in his own right, and very much so in his own right, and you could see that in Rotterdam. You could see that, you know, didn't he win Estoril as well? And then you could see that, you know, with him managing to pull out the win against Berdych. I was kind of surprised that Berdych didn't take that, but yeah, so he's pulled out that, and despite his injuries or whatever, I personally don't think Del Potro's that ridiculously motivated. You know, he may be a nice guy, seems like a nice guy, and I'm not trying to diss him or anything, but I just don't feel like he's ridiculously motivated. You know, especially he got that one win in 2009. That was like, after that, you know, I know he had a wrist injury, I know he had this and that, but I don't know. So anyway, Roger Federer is like beating, you know, major guys consistently. And Roger Federer just played, you know, which I'm probably sure Roger Federer is saying, like, because he was so angry with himself, he probably feels like he played like crap in Roland Garros. And I'm sorry, Roger, I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying that it seems like just from your attitude, and, you know, every athlete, you know, me, from athlete to you athlete, like, you know, when you're like, you know, I didn't do that right, you know, that type of thing. So, despite playing the way that he played and how unhappy he was, he managed to make it to a semifinal in a major Grand Slam. So, you know, I don't see any deterioration. I mean, you know, who isn't tired by this time in the year? I mean, Djokovic, it was last year, it was at Indian Wells. He had taken Indian Wells in 2011, and he was like, thank you guys, I'm so happy, but really, I'm so tired right now. I was like, what? You're tired? What? I'm like, you got guys older than you on tour doing this, and they're not whining about being tired. But I get it, you know, it's I shouldn't say whining, you know, or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, I cannot be swayed to ever believe anything about Roger Federer's age at 30. I think he's defining something new. I think he's taking it to a new level, and through the reality he's creating, Djokovic and Nadal will have so much steam to come off. They've been like in Roger Federer's, like, what is that when the jet, you know, the little air pocket space when the jet flies or whatever. It's like Roger Federer is that jet, and then they're flying in his, you know, whatever. And it's kind of like the same thing too with this show in America that used to come on years ago called Fear Factor. And people used to do these things like tightrope on a really high building or whatever, and the first person who would go would perform, and they would be scared, but they would do better. But the second person, because they watched the person, and the third person, they watched the person, usually ended up, you know, having an easier performance, sometimes even outperforming the first person and stuff like that. But Roger Federer will never be outperformed. That's just it. You know, he'll always be the greatest of all time. That's just it. And it's not because I'm a fan. It's just the freaking truth. You know, so getting back to his age, he's redefining something new. You know, he's not walking around with a cane. Yes, he does have a little back issues. I heard somebody say he has some hip issue with his hip. I never heard that one before. That doesn't mean that I'm right. And because he has these issues doesn't mean he's old either. You know, he's doing it. And as far as his forehand's concerned, I don't think that'll ever deteriorate. I think he just makes mistakes, and I think that mistakes are made through mental anxiety and lack of concentration and focus. This is a person, Roger Federer, who has created so much precision, ridiculous precision. He's a marksman of 10, like he's, you know, the sharpshooter. You know, and other guys have been able to just do all of this because of him. You know, he created, you know, like I said in another video, like a completely new paradigm to the tennis world. That's what he introduced. So, you know, I don't even want to say I'd love to be convinced about Roger Federer's age being a factor, but I don't really see that, you know. And all I say to you, Roger Federer, is you get into 30 years old, like, shoot, 30 years old is still extremely young, you know. It's not like you're turning 60. You know, 30 years old is really, really quite young. And as long as you are taking really good care of your body and you are, you know, allowing the mind to not think about getting older or anything like that, just focusing on what the truth of what's happening in your life, which is you're performing great. You're moving great and stuff like that. Maybe you have a little back issues or something like that. And actually in Madrid, it seemed like, I don't know why, but the way you were standing or whatever seemed like maybe your back hurt a little, just slightly or whatever, but I could be wrong. I mean, but it didn't seem like anything bad. It didn't seem like anything bad at all. I wouldn't say it's anything that really stood out to me. Maybe I shouldn't have even mentioned it, because really it wasn't anything to be, for me as a fan, feel concerned about personally. But I think you're doing well, and you know, just keep it up. You know, just keep it up. I think you're here to define something. I think you're here to move. You know, through your achievements, you are moving people into learning that they can't give up and quit so early in their own lives. You know, and therefore, because they are used to sometimes quitting in their own lives, they, you know, well-meaning in a way, think that you should be quitting in yours, you know. And I'm not saying that toward anyone who's commented on the board. I just need to say that in general, because the media has talked about this. So I don't want anybody feeling like I'm like disrespecting them or anything like that, because I'm not. Yeah, so I wanted to, oh my God, it's 40 minutes. I wanted to talk to you about the Red Bull. I don't know if you know about Red Bull, but it's a drink here in America, and Red Bull has a lot of athletes. So it tends to be like sort of like the X Games sort of athletes, where it's the BMX. I say BMX. I just aged myself. It's a biking, it's a motorcycle stuff. It's like a jumping out of the airplane, skydiving, and surfing, and skiing, and snowboarding, and, you know, just all this like high performance, you know, really exciting stuff. So I watch a lot of really good stuff on their website. Hi! How are you? You wanna get on my video?
Yeah, sure.
Come say hi. I'm just making a video here. Hi! So nice waving to me.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Yeah. So, oh, that sweet, nice girl. So funny, in the New York area, you never expect people to be nice and stuff like that. So it was really such a sweet thing. But anyway, so you have a Red Bull athletes and stuff like that, and I particularly like really personally into surfing. So I've been following that, and Red Bull does a lot of work with their athletes. Actually, they have this wonderful performance camp or whatever, and I saw this wonderful surfing video. I will put the link there so you can see it, Roger. You know, and what they did was they train the athletes. They actually monitor their blood, monitor their body, and just notice, like, they did heart rate and all of these different things, and notice like when and where lactic acid was building up in the muscles and different things like that. And according to that information, what was being built up in their body was being built up in their blood while they were performing and stuff like that. They gave them a diet and stuff like that, and a lot of the athletes really said, you know, because most athletes are just doing sports for the love of it, and they end up being high performance. But after this Red Bull stuff, you know, this Red Bull camp and the studies and stuff like that, and the advice that they had given these athletes, that most athletes are like, I'm performing like way better, like my body feels better, this, that, and the third. So, you know, like I said, there's always a solution to everything. And if getting older for a lot of people is a reality, then you just really take power in your life and you start doing the right things like that. And so I'm going to put the links down. And then today I was looking for that link, and I found something even freaking better with Red Bull, where they had these... I want to say mental performance or whatever. They had a really nice term for it. It's like they did a clinic on coping, maximizing mental performance and being able to maximize physical performance through mental management. They had a clinic on that, and this is a 2-minute long video, but you know what, there's these great guys who work with Red Bull, and I was just thinking, like, if it were me, I would be contacting those guys, and I believe you have the resources to do it, financial resources, or fly them over, and I would say just, like a week-long clinic or something like that, and see if you can get one of those guys, because it is really, really a reputable program. I really truly believe that Red Bull takes a lot of effort with their athletes, and they're just sponsored. They're just a sponsor. It's not even like, whatever. So anyway, these guys, from this video that I saw, that's probably, I don't know, maybe about 10 months ago. About 10 months ago or 11 months ago. And the video that I saw in the surfing camp, I will put that in the link for you to see. And that was a video where Red Bull was watching these surfers. Michelle Perez is my favorite. It's too bad he's married. But anyway, so they so they monitor the surfers and stuff like that, and so check that out. It's a really good video. It's probably about 11 minutes long from what I remember, 11 to 20 minutes long, which is even shorter than any video I've ever done, I think. And and then that other performance video I'll put up. But I would definitely suggest reaching out and contacting them, or just taking a look at what the possibilities are as far as mental management. I would also, again, figure out how to work on just optimizing your reflexes. I mean, even if you would do something stupid, like when you're sitting at the light, when you're personally driving yourself around and you're waiting for the light to go from red to green, like just practice, not speeding or anything like that, but just practicing putting your foot on the pedal fast. Not speeding or breaking the law or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, the reaction time, practice the reaction time, like even doing something as menial as that. But check out the Red Bull stuff, please. It's definitely worth it to just get a sense of, if you don't already have a sense of what mental performance and stuff like that could be. It doesn't mean getting therapy or anything like that. It just is a really nice clinic. And I suggest, like, if you do hire these people, which I would love as a fan, like, to tell you, oh my gosh, like, I don't even have to know or whatever, and I don't have to read about it somewhere or find out about it. It can be done discreetly or whatever. You can do that. I would just love that in some way, in some world, that even if I didn't know Roger Federer was doing it, that he did it, and that would be so freaking awesome. And just bring these guys over, whatever, to Switzerland or wherever you are. And I would say get Stan Wawrinka and your whole team, like, do it with a team of people, because when you get challenged like that, I feel like when you're in a group of people, in a group where you feel there's a container, they call it, like a container, you're in a container where you feel safe to be able to have the space to grapple with your own emotions and your own crap. You know what I mean? And it's not to say that it would even be like that, but when you're in a group of people that you really just trust and stuff like that, you're much more accountable than just being worked on alone. And I'll tell you, like, there was this one, oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking so long. Now I've got to end this video. I'll make something another time, but I just can't have this video this long. Good luck with everything, again, and hope to talk to you guys soon. Bye.